Good morning, this is Randy. I'm going to continue on with part 3 of reading and commenting about the paper psychofmen.wordpress.com, and it's about the study of men and sexual addiction. So, despite the problems that pornography causes with women, men also feel the deep effects of their own pornography use. Firstly, men who commonly participate in watching sexually explicit material also show a sign of decreased relationship satisfaction, and unmet expectations are set for their partner. So these expectations that they may not have ever had they not been watching porn and seeing all this stuff going on, they wouldn't even know that they were dissatisfied. They wouldn't conceive of all the things that they might be missing out on. The disappointment then that they start feeling can be difficult struggles to overcome in a relationship. A recent study verified this as men who were all in significant romantic relationship were studied and found that this dissatisfaction occurred even when statistical controls were applied for other core relational influences. Secondly, pornography is allowed to define male sexuality as dominating over women. There is little room to allow sensitivity and love into the male sexual arena. Rather, it works as a catalyst when introduced to men who are predisposed to violence against women. And it perpetuates a cycle of masculinity and calls a man's sexuality into account if he strays too far from this path. Sexually explicit material can be emotionally damaging as well to the man. A range of negative emotions such as guilt, depression, anxiety, and shame have all been frequently reported by users. The inability to experience adequate intimacy in real life and fear of true relationships can be both daunting and unfamiliar for these men. I'm going to skip reading anything about causes and treatment because that's a lot of theory, and there's a lot of different ways to approach addictions. Men and infidelity. Men suffer from a wide variety of addictions. The addictions take a toll on their life and can bring about negative effects and experiences. One of the main addictions that men suffer with is sexual addictions. So this paper is saying one of the main addictions men suffer from is sexual addictions. Did you hear that? So of all the addictions that people have, which are huge, this article is saying that it's one of the main ones they suffer from is sexual addictions, but yet we as a society, it doesn't exist, right? This addiction can further evolve into infidelity with a significant other. Infidelity is a major cause of divorce, spousal battering, and marital conflict. So, all these horrible marriages, spousal battering, all this divorce, okay? Infidelity is at the root of much of it, lack of trust, and possibly a denial of a sexual addiction to porn that possibly led to dissatisfaction in the relationship, and then trolling online and actually seeking out a live partner. Whether or not they did that, still dissatisfaction arises due to the viewing of porn. Infidelity is looked as a marital betrayal, and it is going against moral and religious beliefs. Okay, we know that. Many individuals engage in a marriage and remain monogamous and are expected to remain true to their marriage. Throughout the United States, it's been estimated that 26 to 70% of married women and 33 to 75% of married men have engaged in infidelity. Okay, so we know that happens, and there's all the different theories about why, but usually viewing porn is not one of them that is very widely known. The article goes into childhood attachment, because attachment plays a big part. Then we go to precursors of marital infidelity. Although we do not know which males are more susceptible to infidelity, researchers have been able to identify some precursors and why men engage in infidelity. It's important for researchers to identify factors that relate to feelings of infidelity. Many women constantly ask themselves, why? And they think that the relationship between them and their mate is fine, but little do they know their husbands are cheating on them. So this dispels this myth that she knew he was cheating, she was fine with it, or how could she not know? Everyone knows when their husband's cheating, right? We all know it, and we just let it go on or deny it, right? Well, no, all we know is that we have some kind of sense or intuition maybe about it. And maybe it's the intuition not about cheating, but it's about the precursors that will lead to cheating. Like watching online porn. Because it definitely does lead to cheating, and in a sense it is cheating. But who has conditioned us and told us and reassured us that there's no problem with it? Who tries to convince women that it doesn't affect our relationship, it has nothing to do with you, it's just my biology? Who tries to convince women that this has no effect on them and that it does not lead to infidelity and that it's just harmless? Men do. And these men who have convinced us, pretty much, they've convinced us. However, they don't even know what effects it really has. So they're convincing us of something they don't know. Again, that's that expert syndrome where somebody who doesn't know shit about shit is trying to convince you that everything's fine and it's all okay. It's all going to be fine. And they don't even have a clue that it's not going to be fine and that they're totally screwing a good thing up. So another factor that indicates infidelity are low levels of agreeableness and conscientiousness in a relationship. So as we see, we relate this to narcissists. Okay, levels of agreeableness. We know that the narcissist is the worst in terms of agreeableness. They're completely unreasonable, and they disagree with everything. In fact, they're tyrants, and it's us who they want to be agreeable. Them, as far as compromise and agreeableness, I would say they're very low on that scale, unless you're wanting them to agree with something that they already want or see as a benefit to them. Conscientiousness is the second factor. Well, conscientiousness would mean that you're willing to work on things, compromise, that you're willing to look at yourself, and personal responsibility. Narcissists don't ever look at themselves. They don't even consider their behavior as any kind of factor or influence in the relationship, because they're just there to tell you what to do, tell you how to think, what to like, and how to behave. And if you don't like it, they'll have someone else lined up behind you who will. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is online sexual behavior, which is toward the end of this article. Many sexual addictions can lead to online sexual behavior, which in then can turn into infidelity with the significant other. The use of internet has become widely popular amongst individuals regardless of age. In 2004, there were 164 million users of the internet, and out of all the online subjects, issues related to human sexuality remain the primary searched topic. The use of the internet has been taken for granted and used for seeking sexual pleasures for individuals. Each day, many men suffer with pornography and temptations of seeking out a sexual partner away from their significant other. Online sexual activity is defined as using the internet for any activity that involves sexual activity, including behaviors such as sharing images, purchasing materials, downloading erotica, sexually explicit discussions, and searching for sexual partners. 20 to 34% of adult internet users have engaged in some form of online sexual activity. 20 to 34%. Okay, that's huge. Many men use the internet and participate in online and sexual activity as an outlet source for coping with stress. Many men may also look online as a convenient escape from life's pressures. So that's another sign of addiction, is the escape from stress. That's why people obliviate themselves with alcohol, drugs, and any other form of addiction. It's usually used as an escape. So in closing, sexual addictions have become a prevalent problem in modern society due to the surge in technological advancement. So this is what's different from, the older guys having to just look at Playboy. The damage it does to men and their personal lives has been both psychological as well as emotional. And we know that men, they don't deal, and they're not used to dealing with psychological and emotional problems. What? So it causes these psychological and emotional problems in their personal lives. They don't really even recognize it as a problem. They're not used to dealing with this. They don't know how to deal with it, and they basically just don't deal with it. They just deny that it exists. As research continues, we can better learn how to combat these personal issues in loving and strategic ways. By promoting healthy relationships, we can improve prevention plans and treatment to hopefully